On today's Top 5 Friday, I want to go over my most frustrating bosses of all time. Now, they could be final bosses or just end-level bosses. And I'm not saying that these are the most difficult bosses of all time, but what I am saying is that for whatever reason, I just had a more difficult time with them than maybe other people had. Now, before we start the video, I want to say that we have bills to pay around here, so this video is actually sponsored by the mobile game Monster Legends. Today's Top 5 Friday is brought to you by Monster Legends. Monster Legends is a free mobile game available on iOS and Android. Now, you guys know me. Anything that has monsters in the title, I'm all for. I'm gonna give it a shot. I said monsters, didn't it? Well, monsters are cool too. In Monster Legends, you can breed, feed, and collect new monster species and fight them with PvP mode or Monster Arena. Now, we don't want no weak and pathetic monsters around here. No siree. We got a solution for that though.
You can feed your monsters to make them stronger and take them into battle. Fight them on the PvP and get them to the higher rankings.
You know what? I may get this game, and if I do, I'm gonna whoop all your butts. All of them. Because I'm gonna get higher rankings. Billy Chaser. Look for it. But you better hurry. Monsters Week is about to end. Download the game now and discover all the monsters available and collect them all. And remember, guys, Monster Legends is free to play, so go download the game and get to fighting.
Oh, it's Friday night. Don't know what I'm gonna do tonight. I could sit here and pick my nose while I watch a brand new video. Whoa, Top 5 Friday. Top 5 Friday tonight.
So number 5 on my list, it actually starts off with probably the biggest, most awesome villain in movie history, and that's Darth freaking Vader. I absolutely love the Super Star Wars series. I remember getting the first Super Star Wars at Christmas and it was amazing. I could not wait to get The Empire Strikes Back, and when I did, I just blew through that game up until the part where Darth Vader comes and pretty much has his way with me. That was a frustrating series, not just one, but a series of boss fights that you had to endure, and it was grueling, and I would die again and again and again and again and again. I've never been able to fight Darth Vader before, so I took some solace in the fact that, while yes, it was frustrating, I was fighting Darth Vader, and it was awesome. Now, number 4 on my list is another movie icon. Well, just pop culture icon. The Joker. The Joker from the original Batman game on the NES. I can just breeze through Batman, no problem. I've always found the game rather easy for the most part, and I think it really is pretty much an easy game. But the Joker is just insane. It is hard. And when you're fighting a boss, 90% of the time, it's just learning that pattern, and sometimes your brain's just not wired to figure out that pattern like it is with some other bosses. And for whatever reason, the Joker just is so freaking hard for me. I just can't get the... I don't know what it is. I don't know, like, whenever he shoots lightning down and that's what always gets me. That's what always gets me. And I'm not, still to this day, I'm not sure if there's an actual pattern to that or if it's just blind luck. Number 3 on my list is a final boss once again, and that is one of my favorite games of all time, Castlevania 4 Dracula. Now, there were a lot of hard bosses leading up to Dracula, but Dracula, it took me a long time to finally get that pattern down. When I first got to Dracula, I was bound and determined to beat him. I was not turning off that Super Nintendo until I beat Dracula, and it took a while. It took a long time. It was frustrating. It was hard. I died probably 100 times, but I finally was able to beat him. Now, since I actually tried so many times to beat Dracula as a kid, it embedded itself into my brain, and now whenever I pop the game in, I can pretty much go through Dracula like that. It's really easy now. So number 2 on my list is is an optional boss. It's a boss you don't even have to actually fight in the game, and that's the ruby weapon in Final Fantasy VII. Whenever I first went through Final Fantasy VII, I had no intention of trying to take on the ruby weapon. I think I decided, you know, what kind of a gamer am I if I don't try to take on the ruby weapon? You'd go into this battle and pretty much die immediately. It was like you literally had no chance at this thing. And I remember this being actually one of the very first times that I actually used the internet, which was pretty new at the time for most people, to find hints and cheats on video games. And so I actually found out not only how to beat the ruby weapon, but to harvest chocobos and get the Knights of the Round. But anyway, I finally figured out what you had to do, and it's a very specific series of events that you need to do. Starting off with, you gotta go into the battle with 2 of your characters actually already KO'd. I mean, who would have thought you had to do that? That's not something that you could actually come up with. Well, maybe there's one absolute genius out there that came up with that idea, but wasn't me. It wasn't me. I wouldn't have thought of that. But anyway, I followed the directions to the T and finally beat the ruby weapon. Alright, so this boss absolutely tormented me as a child. Tormented me. I still like the game though. I always liked this game. That's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the boss is the Technodrome. I actually like it. I think it's awesome. I always had a fascination with the Technodrome on the cartoon. I always rooted for the bad guys in the Technodrome to wreak havoc. But regardless, getting to the Technodrome was so awesome. And then I would die. And then I would die. And then I would die. And then I would die again. And I could not beat this thing no matter how hard I would try. Day after day after day. I couldn't get the pattern. My brain was just cuckoo, crazy, could not wrap my head around how to beat this guy. And some bosses are easy to me, like the final boss in Ninja Gaiden, easy to me. Contra 3, the final boss, easy to me. It's always been easy, but sometimes it's always been hard. And the Technodrome, for whatever reason, well, it's hard, but it was like extra hard for me. I just could not do it until after probably a 6-month span of actually trying to do this thing, I finally figured out what you had to do. And I figured this out on my own. No internet. Maybe it was a hint in Nintendo Power, but I didn't have that issue. You had to go and get the scrolls. You had to farm scrolls in the whatever, World 2, whatever it is. I had to get all 4 turtles with 99 scrolls and just hope that at least one of those jerks finally makes it to the Technodrome with all his scrolls intact, or most of them. Those scrolls just slice right through the Technodrome, and it takes something that was so difficult and makes it a complete breeze. The Technodrome just dissolves like butter. It's done over like a handful of scrolls. There you have it, my top 5 frustrating boss fights of all time. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Really appreciate your support. If you stuck to the end of the video, I really appreciate it. And you know what? I'll put up another top 5 Friday next week for you guys. All right, take care, have fun this Friday, and play some video games.
Ice cream. Give me ice cream with whipped cream.